Today, we are going to be painting a representation of Robert Frost's poem titled The Vantage Point. This work was published in 1913, a part of his first collection, A Boy's Will. Born on March 26, 1874, in San Francisco, California, Robert Frost is a world-renowned American poet, known for his works highlighting the intricacies of nature and the interactions between the natural world and humans. In The Vantage Point, the narrator monologues about the spot that they frequent when they grow bored of nature. Although the spot itself is a secluded little nook surrounded by trees and flowers where nobody can see them, they visit there to have a better view of the city on a far-off hill. As they look off into the distance, they observe far off the homes of men, and farther still, the graves of men on an opposing hill. After this, the speaker notes that if by noon they grow bored of looking off into the distance, they only have to look in their immediate vicinity to once again observe the various aspects of nature, such as bluets, the earth, ant piles, etc. After we worked on a sketch of the drawing on a separate paper, we start off the painting by filling in the background with a sunrise color gradient, as Robert Frost wrote that the narrator went to their vantage point in the dawn. When analyzing this poem, it becomes clear that Robert Frost does an excellent job at world building in the vantage point, making sure to add small details that add to the believability of the world the speaker lives in. Generally, Frost does a phenomenal job at heightening his writing through detailed, descriptive language and a creative, poetic style, something that has made his work special and worthy of recognition. Next, further developing the background, we started painting the far-off cityscape to represent the far-off homes of men and the hills in between them. In this poem specifically, the main substance comes from the dichotomy between the life of humans and the life within nature. All of the narrator's emotions are fueled by the desire to observe both human activities and elements of the natural world. Through this, we can understand the speaker's motivations for wanting to go to their vantage point. The speaker seems to be lost in the world, trying to seek refuge in nature. His interest in the life of people around him draws him to observe the far-off city, but his discomfort with social interaction prompts him to remain separate, on looking from his safe haven, far away from any other humans. Next, we worked on developing the foreground of the painting, as well as the graves of men on an opposing hill. The duality between humans and nature and the ambivalence of humans in the narrator's eyes are further explored in the last few lines of the first stanza, which read, "Myself unseen, I see in white defined, far off the homes of men, and farther still, the graves of men on an opposing hill, living or dead, whichever are to mind." The tombstones of men serve to remind the speaker, and by extension the reader, that there are ups and downs in life and that human life is finite and has a start and an end. This provides yet another contrast to nature, as nature is seen as both expansive and never-ending, always regrowing and cyclical. Furthermore, when referencing the graves, the statement living or dead, whichever are to mind, accentuates the speaker's loneliness in the world, backing up their feelings of exclusion and separation. By saying this, the narrator effectively conveys that so few people seem to care about them that they would look even to the dead for feelings of validation. Peering into his personal life, Robert Frost likely felt much the same way. Accounts of his life say that he experienced plenty of loneliness, having lost his parents at a rather early age and suffering from depression for a great part of his life. The self-reflectiveness of this poem might just be one of the things that makes it so vivid and believable. Next, we went on by adding some details to the painting, trying to reflect the bright and colorful world that Robert Frost created within this poem. After adding clouds to the background, we decided to start taking some artistic liberties, painting in a small picnic scene with a tablecloth, basket, plate, and bottle. Although not stated in the poem, we wanted to give something for the narrator to do in this painting. Even though they aren't directly interacting with it, the added items both bring in more color and complexity to the drawing, and complement their sedentary actions of simple observation very well. They wouldn't be doing anything too extravagant while in their vantage point, so a simple picnic set seems appropriate for someone just looking out into the world. As you can see, for the purposes of this painting, we decided to make the character a silhouette. Staying true to the poem, the speaker is not of a defined age, gender, or race, so we thought that the ambiguity of the silhouette would best represent what we are provided. Even though we know little to nothing of the character's physical description, Frost still makes sure to give the speaker loads of characterization. Throughout the poem, we learn of the speaker's confusion about life, tiredness, and feelings of isolation from society. The speaker's tone is overall relaxed and content, as they seem at peace with the way things are. As you can see here, to further develop the vantage point the speaker talks about, we added scattered bluette flowers. As in the poem on line 12, the narrator states, "My breathing shakes the bluette like a breeze." This implies that they are physically close to the flowers, further highlighting their intimacy with nature and the non-human. The final stylistic element of the painting that we added is a life preserver slash buoy around the subject's waist. We thought to include this because it can represent the feeling of safety and security that the speaker gets from being immersed in nature, providing yet another reason as to why they always choose to come back to their safe haven. Thank you very much, and we hope you enjoyed.